Hello. So what we're going to do is check out this gameplay vid. What you're going to see is a speed run on a bounty in Lower Manhattan. So I'm using the survivalist build. And if I'm not mistaken, this particular bounty is actually giving me a bit of a tough time. So this particular build is primarily DPS build. I'm trying to do a speed run, doing it as quickly as possible and trying to catch as many of them as I can. A lot of my initial gameplay was focused on really, hiding behind cover and getting my skill to do a lot of the damage, as well as using Pestilence as my go-to to kind of spread some of that damage. As you can tell early on, my core focus was around more of a DPS approach versus really looking at, getting up close and personal and taking out the enemies as quickly as I can. There's a lot of kind of wait and see kind of approach. But I have to say, this is probably one of the fastest runs I had. I had several that were very, very slow going. This was pretty tricky because in a minute or so you'll have some of the opponents spawn on this side of the area. You got some appearing right now, but they're all the way on the far end. So that was a bit of the problem with this build, was it wasn't going to cover a lot of distance, so you gotta come in a little closer to do that. So instead I decided I'd try to bomb them out, see if I can get some damage in there from as far away as possible, relying on the assault turret to kind of do a lot of the dirty work, so to speak. Now, a lot of the challenge of building a DPS build centers on the lack of defensive capabilities. Since you're so focused on damage, you kind of compromise on that. But as you can see, there you go. You got someone like hop up behind me, and then you're gonna get into a whole slew of problems once you figure out you're not able to take on that much damage. Which means you've got to be able to build your defensive awareness. In this case, noticing that that drone was there, and then figuring out that, oops, the target had already spawned right behind me. A good example of being able to maximize from a strategy perspective was to look at your environment and see which areas you could utilize to your advantage. In this case, I was able to figure out that the area had kind of like a backdoor approach to it, so what I did was just come up on top and pretty much maximize the kill box for this particular boss. And Pestilence, since it applied large debuff over time, was able to really quickly take out the target, like so. This allowed me to complete the bounty at a pretty short period of time. Thanks for watching.